if you really want to scale marketing, look at how that workflow, get it mapped out and say, then reimagine it. Almost have like a hackathon on that workflow. So it used to take us 21 steps to get an email out the door. With AI, now what is the art of the possible? Is it 24 hours and it's only 2 steps to review and test and it's out the door? But reimagine it.
Welcome to the Getting the Deal Done podcast. And my special guest today is Lisa Cole with 2X. The website is 2, the digit 2x dot marketing. She is a marketing expert, and have to say I am very much looking forward to this because Lisa, marketing is a nebulous topic to many people. Over the years, all the business owners I talk to, so many say, well, my business would do so much better if anyone knew anything about marketing. And I also know when I was active in a chamber of commerce, if we put on events, if it was marketing or money, you filled seats. So let's talk about some of these things. And before we do, let's start with a little bit about you, how you got to where you are owning 2X and the journey.
Well, thank you very much for the time today, by the way, for the invite to your podcast. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Lisa Cole, and I'm actually a four-time Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm currently the Chief Marketing Officer for a company called 2X. 2X is a global B2B go-to-market subscription services company, so you can almost say I'm the marketer for the marketers. I'm not the founder or owner. I'm a member of the senior executive team, but I play a special role here in the sense that I actually am a former customer of the org. I used this unique model for about 6.5 years, and realizing that it was the best kept secret for marketers, I decided I should join to be the chief evangelist, if you will, and build awareness for this unique model so that other marketers know when they're dealing with this increasing, completely unrealistic expectation to do more with fewer resources. What are all the available options that exist to you to go ahead and scale marketing, but without scaling or skyrocketing costs or operational burden? But I'm the marketer of marketers, is the best way to put it. And
Okay.
I love talking to non-marketers about marketing because I know it's almost like this magic um, that people don't necessarily understand, but they know they need it. We all buy things, right?
Right.
And we inherently, as consumers, we know what good marketing feels like. But being able to break that down and operationalize it is a whole different story. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So now that we know a little bit about you, what the audience is going to learn today is uh, about marketing people struggling to do more with less these days
Yeah.
because a lot of non-marketing people think AI will do it all.
Yeah.
How to scale without a budget and how to use AI in marketing. So your company is, as you said, you're B2B. You're working with chief marketing officers of
So
companies.
2X is a global B2B go-to-market subscription services company. We work with mid-market and enterprise B2B organizations, so they are selling solutions to other companies. And we specialize in partnering with CMOs of that organization where they can subscribe to capabilities, either because they need a certain skill set like design or copywriting or maybe paid media management or social media, or they need capacity. They need to scale up capacity quickly to support something like a brand refresh or a new website, but they know that the right answer isn't to hire more in-house marketers. And so that's the biggest challenge. It's important to note that we do work with mid-market and enterprise, candidly, because that's where an offshore outsourcing model makes sense. But if you are a startup, if you are a scale up, um, the core underlying principle still stands, whether we are the right company for you or not. You should be intentional about what are the things that you should keep in-house from a marketing standpoint, What are the things you should leverage various outsourcing models like freelancers, or traditional agencies, or even offshore resources? And what are the things you should automate? Which is getting to the other point that you said, hey, there are a lot of non-marketers in the world that believe that AI can just do the marketing now. And that is a very true statement. There are CEOs and boards, investors that believe that humans are no longer needed in marketing because AI models, the core models like ChatGPT or Claude, can do this work. And so I'm here to, one, deal with that myth that's flawed, but two, also make sure that the marketers of the world know that they should be leaning into and leveraging AI for scale. So we still need humans, but the humans need to do a different body of work.
So would I be correct in if we talked about, the CEO says, well, can't AI do all our marketing?
Yeah.
If you put it into Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or any of them, aren't you going to get the same results that the person, you know, someone else is in some other company is going to get by asking the same question?
Well, maybe. Maybe that's actually part of the problem. One, the models have been trained on what has been effectively published or publicly available data. So, yes, one of the challenges with just talking to a chatbot and asking a question, the output will feel like more of the same because it's been trained on, it's predicting based on what the input was, it's predicting off of this core data. So part of it will be it will sound undifferentiated from if one of your competitors asks the same question of the same model. The other thing is it also won't take into context your company's unique secret sauce.
Hmm.
And anyways, the other piece, which is the slop, there's a lot of comments around AI slop. Again, back to the original premise, that means more of the stuff coming out is going to sound the same. It's been trained on everything that's been published online. And you find in communities, and you find cited or mentioned by traditional media outlets. By design, that means it's going to provide you with an answer based on the average of everything it's been trained on. However, not everything on the internet is really good quality. That's the other piece, right? I think we can all agree that some of the stuff that got published online, we could probably be better off without it. It's not
Yep.
good quality. It could be inaccurate. It could be poorly written. Um, it could be completely made up stuff. And that is also going to seep into the response. And so your humans need to provide better context to get better output. They also need to be smart enough, have judgment to be able to determine, is it accurate? Is it good quality? They're the last line of defense. It keeps from sounding the same and having slop that gets published. So, yeah. Sam Altman started this, the OpenAI CEO. He was the one that about a year and a half ago said 95% of all marketing will be done by the models once we reach AGI, artificial general intelligence. And what he meant was all of the menial day-to-day tactical work of the 21 steps it takes to get an email out the door, that'll be fully automated. And it likely should be. He did not mean to say that the judgment and the context and the what good looks like um, would be replaced, that human would be fully replaced.
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah.
call it the slop. I hear a lot of people call it hallucinations by AI.
Yeah, all of the above, right?
Yeah.
The slop, I think, is just a big bucket that contains inaccuracies, the things that drive people crazy with M dashes, the overuse of the words that apparently us humans were a bit addicted to, buzzwords, transformational, the telltale sentence structures. A lot of the stuff that was published online did follow certain rules, and so by design, the model is just mimicking kind of the average of everything we've put out there in the world. And by design, that includes the stuff that's not so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you see this issue right now? Is, one of the things when we talked a while ago before today is that, your marketing people are struggling because of this, because of the direction they're given. And why do we need you? We have AI.
Yeah. Well, the marketers and organizations of all sizes, they have pressure um, coming at them from three different, well, at least two different directions. One, we're all beginning to use AI in our research and evaluation in our own purchasing decisions. And an increasing number of our searches for the stuff we want to buy, we are actually asking ChatGPT or Gemini to help us do our research for us and to help us make purchasing decisions. By design, that's putting pressure on the marketer who now needs to care about being findable, understood, and chosen by both humans and agents in a variety of places now. So we now actually have more places that we need to be found and understood by humans and agents, and they care about very different things. And so, one piece of content we might have had to publish in one channel before now is 100 pieces of content formatted in different ways so that both a human and a model could interpret, and it's found in 10 different channels. So that pressure is real. So we actually do have more stuff that we need to think about than we did a year and a half ago. But on the flip side, we have the non-marketers who have heard comments like, oh, it just does all the stuff for the marketer. We don't need humans, or you don't need as many. If you're in a small startup and you're the only marketer, what that feels like is, all right, I'm expecting you to do 10 times more and don't come to me and ask for help.
Mhm.
If you're in an enterprise organization and you've got 1,000 marketers, what that conversation sounds like is, why do you have 1,000 marketers? You should be able to do this with a tenth of those marketers, and do so in a way that protects the brand, that doesn't, create risk for us if we're publicly traded. And so it's leading to conversations around headcount reduction. And so somewhere in the middle, you either had plans to ask for more resources because the expectations are higher, and you're being told you can't get more, but you should be able to use the AI to scale whatever it is you need to do, or you're in really hard discussions about defending what it is you have, much less asking for anything more. And those are all three, no matter where you're at within that spectrum, those are hard. Those are just hard conversations.
So that segues into whether it's a startup or a slightly more mature company that says, but we need to scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a startup from zero to whatever, they want to go from whatever to three
The next.
whatever.
Yep.
What are some tips to do that when you have a limited marketing budget?
Yeah. Well, first thing is, if you are, the best unlock is to understand how something gets done today. And so if you can taskify your workflow, so if you know you need to do more of paid campaigns or more social media or produce more content, understand your workflow today, taskify that. Like, actually really know and understand the 21 steps it takes to complete that, get it documented. And depending on where you're at, you basically, instead of asking the question of, can I use AI for any of these steps across that workflow? The better question is, how, to what degree should I use AI across that workflow? Like, how differently could I execute that workflow if AI is involved? And to what degree does the recipient expect AI to be used? So the very big difference from go out and get more access or more licenses to ChatGPT or Claude Code. The problem is not access. Every marketer I talk to, regardless of the size of the company, they have AI everywhere, This subscription sprawl is unbelievable. The amount of money they're spending on licenses are it's out of control. The challenge is they don't see impact anywhere, or they can't articulate the impact it's had because they didn't actually start with, well, how are we applying AI? And based on the body of work and how we should apply it, what should the intended impact be? And then be able to measure against that. So they actually just didn't get their house in order. So my advice is if you really want to scale marketing, look at how that workflow, get it mapped out and say, then reimagine it. Almost have like a hackathon on that workflow. So it used to take us 21 steps to get an email out the door. With AI, now what is the art of the possible? Is it 24 hours and it's only 2 steps to review and test and it's out the door? But reimagine it, conduct your own hackathon on your most commonly used workflows, and then make sure before you apply, understand current state. If it takes my favorite analogy from marketing leaders, I will ask them how long it takes to get from an idea of a campaign out the door where the recipient of that campaign, your audience, actually engages with you. How many days? The average in an enterprise environment is closer to 127 days to get from an idea or a new offering to get it out the door. Okay, why does it take 127 days? Oh, every asset, every ad, every social media post, every email, every piece of content goes through 3 rounds of reviews and edit cycles. And these 7 functional groups have to be involved along this. Okay, conduct a hackathon. How do we get the 127 days down to under 4 weeks and eliminate all of the manual review and editing cycles? Maybe that's it. So start with the body of work, understand that body of work, and then reimagine it. Then apply the AI. Don't rush to go get more licenses. Don't start with the tech itself, start with the work.
So how would a company like my small company, a couple people,
Yeah.
helping people buy and sell businesses use AI to improve our marketing?
My favorite hack here is actually to ask whatever model you prefer. If you're ChatGPT, if you're Gemini, whatever model you have access to today, let them know what you're trying to accomplish and ask the model to give advice on how AI should be applied against that job to be done. And so if you have one person in your company and let's just say you want to grow your followers on LinkedIn because you want more executives to follow you and engage with your content, believing that that might be the first way to fill your pipeline.
Yeah.
Really ask the model, ask ChatGPT. My name is Lisa. I'm at this startup, and we currently only have 122 followers on LinkedIn. I want to grow that followers. What's a good strategy for that? And then how should I use you to execute against that strategy? And it will guide you through the process of developing the strategy. And then it will tell you all of the ways it can be used to execute that strategy. And it will let you know where either a human should be in the loop or where you might need to bring other technologies in to fully execute against it. But you could just ask it. That's
Hmm.
what's so great about the recent advancements is it's a reasoning model and it's a PhD level expertise of the functional discipline that you're asking about. Um, the challenge will be is the chatbot is a chatbot. It's not a true agent, meaning it can't do work on your behalf. So it's your strategic thought partner, it's your advisor. Where it gets more complicated is when it's a multi-step workflow and you need something to take actions on your behalf. Meaning, to post something on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you would need an agent to do that.
Okay.
That
All
help?
right. Yeah, that does. And that's interesting. I want to go back to when we had our prep call a little bit ago, and one
Yeah.
of the things you said is you can't hire. What is this? You can't hire as the way to growth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I think we went through a period of time where companies were not only enabled to or afforded the opportunity, they were encouraged to accelerate growth at all costs. Again, to seize the opportunity of market demand. So when you think about the just SaaS in general, there was a period of time where there was market share to be had, and companies were encouraged to scale their growth engines as quickly as possible, hiring tons of sales reps, investing heavily in marketing. It was growth at all costs. Go out and capture the share of market, and then we'll figure out how to keep it. And nobody really paid attention until the cost of sales and marketing, or just as SG&A, skyrocketed, I think within the SaaS space, anywhere between 25 to like 42% of total. It was how much it was spending on sales and marketing just to secure a dollar of revenue. And that was fine for a period of time, but we are now in a period of time where it's not growth at all costs. You can't scale growth that way. You can't spend 10x what you're getting on revenue to go out and secure that. And because of that, we have trained an entire generation of marketing and sales leaders that the way to grow is to hire more people. Yeah, case in point, my second marketing leadership role, I was hired as part of a new leadership team because the company before it, the founder and the executive team before us, had this growth at all costs mentality. If we needed to grow revenue, the top line by 20%, okay, well, how many sales reps do we need to hire to grow it at that
Hmm.
20%? And then as a result, oh, well, they can carry this quota. We know, 8 out of 10 will achieve this level. And then they would go out and just hire their way to growth. Well, what they also didn't take into consideration is every new sales rep also meant that there were marketing, IT, HR, support. There were all these other costs that came along with the new sales reps. So they were kept expanding. I think it was close to 19 countries in 7 different languages. And every time they placed sales reps in new territories, they had to bring with them their field marketers. They had to bring with them their IT and their finance resource, all of these other resources. It got so bad that the company became wildly unattractive. The share price plummeted, and they were not profitable. And so this entire leadership team was brought in to effectively transform this core legacy business that had lost its leadership position, spending too much in sales and marketing. They weren't spending in R&D. They lost their leadership position. They had skyrocketing sales and marketing costs. And of course, revenue had slowed to a pace and costs were out of control. And that was a fairly significant business restructuring. And through that, one of the things that we had to really figure out is how much should we be paying or investing to acquire a new customer? Um, and that was even before AI. Like that was an acknowledgement that we were exiting that growth
Yeah.
at all cost phase. Now we've got AI, and the real pressure on business leaders at this point is that there are AI startups, AI native startups that are 1, 10, 100 people strong that are stealing market share from industry leading bloated organizations that can move with the speed that these industry leading bloated organizations cannot move with. Case in point, I gave the campaign example, 127 days to get a campaign in the market. If you're in an enterprise org, everyone under the sun has an opinion about the copywriting on an ad in a social media. All these functional groups care about which events we're at and how we position ourselves at the events. If you're an AI native organization and you don't have thousands of employees to appease and trying to get out to market, you can launch a new campaign in days and be able to seize emerging opportunities long before the industry leading companies can. And that's the added pressure. One, we just probably shouldn't have been spending so much money to grow anyways. hiring more people was probably never really the right answer. But now who you're competing with, you would do yourself a disservice by adding more to that bloat. Does
Okay.
that answer the question?
Yeah. So let's tell the audience a little bit about in marketing the difference between strategic and tactical things.
Yeah, yeah. The way I the framework I offer is that when you think about what you should own, what you should outsource, and what you should automate, anything that is strategic is your secret sauce. This is your source of competitive advantage. It is the thing that the marketer needs to do that's inherently different than the way the competitors should be doing it. And so a good example of this is your positioning, your messaging, the content you publish, like the topics you talk about, and how you frame up your point of view on those topics. That should all be in-house. That's your source of competitive advantage. That does need to be done differently than your competitors. Now, the next body, the tactical stuff, this is stuff that you need best practice execution, but it does not need to be done differently than the way your competitors might do it. In the context of marketing, what that sounds like is email best practices. Do I really need to reinvent a different way to send an email to my database or to post the way I might post something on LinkedIn? I need best practice execution so it reaches the right audience, but I don't need it to be wildly different than the way the competitor might approach sending an email, right? The same subject line, call to action, the way you would think about a high performing email doesn't need to be different than the way your competitor would send an email. But the messaging and point of view or the offer that might be talked about in the email, that's your secret sauce. Keep that thinking in-house. Don't outsource that. And then anything that falls in that any of those first two buckets that feels like it's repetitive or could benefit from doing something at scale. So if you are your strategic in-house core team and you want to refine or refresh your positioning, that person or people might want to do market research at scale. Meaning they want to monitor, 1,000 accounts and they want to see what's happening within those. That's a good candidate for automation, but the ownership of that workflow probably should be kept in-house as again, the secret sauce.
Yeah.
The 21 steps it takes to get an email out the door should be automated, should be fully automated. And in that case, you want to hold your outsourced partner for execution accountable for leveraging AI for that too.
Okay. A
Yeah.
lot of fascinating stuff. Lisa, what do you like to do when you're not being a marketing guru?
Well, I am a mom of three children, 11, 9, and 9. So I have two girls and a boy. And so my source of joy, if it's not marketing, it's 100% from them. And they are three very different personalities. I have an athlete, I have a bit of a musician, and an artist that works in clay and drawing. So they're it. I think that. And also, we have lots of animals. Because of the three kids, we have three dogs, two cats, two sugar gliders, and some lizards. So, chaos. Yeah.
Great. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you for being on the Getting the Deal Done podcast. This has been highly informative. I I look at what I see in businesses, clients, my own business, that what you talk about, how to use AI
Yeah.
is really important to uh, get things done faster once you figure out what you want to get done.
Yeah. Yeah. And when in doubt, if you don't really know where to start, just ask it. I
And how do
guarantee
people,
you that in and of
yeah,
itself will help.
okay. How do people get hold of you besides X2 or 2X dot marketing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Personally, I could be found on LinkedIn. So Lisa Cole 01. You'll find me on LinkedIn. If you are a marketing leader at a mid-market enterprise company, you can go to www.2x.marketing. We're in the process of moving that to 2x.com. So we did just secure that. And those are the two best places to find me.
Okay. Well, thank you again for being on. It was very enlightening.
Thank you.
I'm
I
sure the
appreciate
audience will love
it.
it.
And if anyone out there is a non-marketer that would like advice on what to start, just reach out. I'm happy to help. But do make sure that you have a human involved somewhere in your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always have a human.
Always have a human. You may not need 1,000 humans, but always have a human involved.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.